I'm just fighting Zimbabwe. We're the first people to see that this country, Zimbabwe, is now being treated. There's no driver, it's just a driver. It's just moving along. We're the first people. I came here in 2020 when I was attacked. Same time with Comrade Hanana, and after telling the world about the cruelty of the president, the same president killed in the village during Kukurawundi, they followed me here in Santin. Then I had to go from Santin up to Hanichu police station. That's where I was hiding. For the sake of time, I will read my speech. Good afternoon, everyone. Sanbonani, Mawiyan, Makadini, Muligaboto. Today I speak not as a politician, not as a career activist, but as a son of the soil, torn from the land of birth by the same system that seeks to extend its own decay. I speak from exile, not because I ran, but because I was pushed out, as thousands have been. To those still inside the country, striking under the weight of intimidation, fear, poverty, and silence, we see you, we are with you. I speak from exile, but my heart has never left home. When we read the book of Nehemiah, we meet a man who though he worked in the palace and ate from the king's table, was sad, and he said, "How can I not be unhappy when the city where my forefathers are buried lies in ruins?" We too may be doing relatively well, looking well in other countries, but our hearts bleed for our homeland. In the same spirit, I ask, how can we be happy when our country is being stranded before our eyes? How can we celebrate when the land that birthed us is bleeding, looted, and humiliated by the regime that has forgotten its humanity? The fourth stone of 2017. In 2017, Robert Mugabe was disposed. To the weary people of Zimbabwe, it felt like a new dawn, a breath of fresh air after decades of suffocation. But soon we realized that what we thought was light at the end of the tunnel was an oncoming train, the same ZANU-PF train, just with a new driver. The so-called Second Republic was nothing but just a repainted coffin. It raised the hopes of a battered nation only to bury them deeper. After the much-hyped first 100 days, it became clear that no change was coming. The faces had changed, but the cruelty remained. They called it reform, but we saw soldiers firing live bullets into the crowds in 2018. They called it progress, but corruption grew fatter, greed more and more shameless. They called it new dispensation, but it was the same old disease wearing a borrowed suit. And now they want to extend the disease. We say no to 2030 agenda, 2030 nonsense. Those who dared to speak truth were jailed, hunted, or forced into exile. The ferret team was not created to serve justice, but to stop dissent. Men and women of courage, like Job Scala, Jacob Ngarivume, the MRP9, Okwel Chingono, and myself were arrested, persecuted in silence simply for speaking where cowards chose silence. Some have since been released, but the scars remain. Reminders of the state that criminalized courage and rewarded cruelty. We were told the old had ended, but it has only preferred the tyrant. And now ZANU-PF tells us Mnangagwa's rule must be extended beyond 2028. 2 more years to steal, 2 more years to rot, 2 more years to cast the youth with hopelessness. Let us be clear, this attempt to extend Mnangagwa's tenure is not constitutional reform, it is constitutional rape. Nothing good can be achieved in 2 extra years that could not have been done in 10 years. No to 2030, no to recycled statehood. The future does not belong to those old thieves, it belongs to the youth of Zimbabwe. Let us be honest, those of us 40 and above have failed Africa. We have watched the tyrants grow older in power and called it stability. We have mistaken silence for peace. But Generation Z, Gen Z, the children of hunger and broken promises have taken up the mantle. They have removed a DJ president of Madagascar. They kept Ruto awake in Kenya every night. Even Morocco trembles because these young lions have shown their leader the middle finger. Kill one and 1,000 will, and the 100 will rise. Kill them 2 and 1,000 will take their place. Why? Because they have nothing left to lose. No jobs, no homes, no security, all stolen by old men who want to die in office and be buried in the marble while the youth rot in border queues. No to 2030, the youth must live, not wait. And yes, it is true, the majority who has received cars from the regime do not support it. We know there's a guy, because of corruption in Zimbabwe, who's parceling away cars to people, bribing people with cars. Those people, they just take, but they don't support the regime. You can't buy someone a car whilst he doesn't have a house. Today, we have the government that hands out cars while people have no houses. Leaders are bribed with tickets, cars, fuels, coupons, fake prestige, while our hospitals have no bandages and our schools have no chalks. How can a government that cannot build homes find millions to buy cars? No to 2030 nonsense, not corruption disguised as empowerment. In village, we say, you can't stitch an anus to stop diarrhea. You cannot fix a rotten system by giving it more time to rot. We once thought Ian Smith was the best our land could produce. We fought for freedom only to be ruled by men who turned liberation into personal inheritance. We now have a great grandfather who wants to become an ancestor in power. Politics is leveled to the death of integrity. Today, politics in Zimbabwe has become a job, not service. Everyone, opposition MPs, treat the 2030 agenda as a contract extension, a chance to protect allowance while the people starve. It is no longer struggle for justice, it is now a scramble for benefits. So it falls as ordinary citizens to resist, not to partisan, not to personalities, but for the Constitution itself. Youths of my nation, put up your earphones down, put up your WhatsApp down, defend your future. When I stood in Zimbabwe to defend the Constitution, I did it alone many times. I used to do one-man demonstration. I used to write on Facebook that I'm going to the street, people will follow me. I wish our youth can follow what I was doing during my time. The struggle needs everyone, students, workers, the unemployed, the exiled, church leaders, and those surviving the heat at home. This is not politics, this is preservation of national soul. This is my plea to rise. From Harare to Bulawayo, from Gwanda to Bokwe, from the diaspora to the dust streets of Mutare, the people are watching and the people are done waiting. We will not be silenced by fear, nor seduced by crumbs from our corrupt table. We are the children of those who dared the dream. and we will dare again. Mr. Mnangagwa, your time is up. You can arrest the body, but you cannot imprison a generation. You cannot silence voices, but you cannot kill an idea whose hour has come. No to 2030 nonsense, no to tyrant disguised as continuity. The youth of Zimbabwe are awake, and this time we will not be fooled by borrowed promises, psychic tyrants. The biblical call and what we must do now. This struggle cannot be minus God. Remember the rod of Egypt. Pharaoh stood before Moses and the nation, and at the last order, rise up and go forth. Exodus 12, verse 31 to 32. Moses did not speak once and give up. He returned again and again, unshaken, unbowed, carrying a mandate greater than himself. Let us do the same, and now hear the call. If the regime proceeds with the 2030 extension agenda, we will answer with peaceful constitutional protests. We will march in our cities. We will gather in our townships. We will raise our voices in prayer and solidarity. We will stand unarmed, unafraid, and united. No stones, no violence, no destruction, just the power of the people refusing to surrender the future. The Lord says in Exodus 14:15, why do you cry to me? Tell the people to move forward. God moves when the people move. If our resistance remain only on social media, then we are standing still. But when we rise peaceful, boldly together, the Red Sea will part. We must choose to die as victors or to live as slaves. When courage meets action, victory is guaranteed. We demand a future, not an extension of decay. We demand freedom for another funeral democracy. We demand respect for the Constitution, the last covenant between the people and the state. God bless Zimbabwe, and the children of Zimbabwe might rise. Siyabonga, tatenda, taboka, twalumba. Thank you very much.
Thank you, colleagues. We just want to, as the leaders of Zimbabwe, the activists, just to place it on record, comrades, that we are aware that there are some political parties that are in opposition that are beneficiaries of the 2030 agenda. Some are already in parliament because when the extension is going to happen, they are also going to be beneficiaries. There are some also that might not necessarily be in parliament, but that have colluded with ZANU-PF under the cover of darkness to receive trinkets and positions in future. And we are saying that the resistance to 2030 agenda must not be left in the hands of politicians. It must not be left in the hands of activists and eminent people. It must be a resistance for everybody. It must be a people's resistance. The Constitution of Zimbabwe, in its first sentence, says, we, the people of Zimbabwe. And I think this is the time for us to exercise that statement. We, the people of Zimbabwe, must rise up. We've always said that the government of Zimbabwe uses the Constitution, it uses the courts, it uses parliament, it uses state institutions, it uses the army to try and perpetuate its rule. And we are saying that if all constitutional means of fighting for our freedom are deemed illegal, the people of Zimbabwe are going to be forced to look for solutions outside the Constitution. And we are here to say that the issue of Agenda 2030 will not go unopposed. We are here to say we are starting a process of mobilizing Zimbabweans, both in the country and outside the country, to resist peacefully, to resist constitutionally, and to fight for our rights so that the issue of Agenda 2030 is blocked. And we are here again to say that our fight is not with a person. It is a fight against the institution called ZANU-PF that has perpetuated the suffering of our people. We are not going to be used like we were in 2017, where we found ourselves supporting an individual within ZANU-PF. ZANU-PF is at the heart of the problems of Zimbabwe, and we are not going to have a solution within ZANU-PF. We always say the only thing that you can make using a problem, if you're looking for a solution, is an antidote. Zimbabwe is not looking for an antidote, and ZANU-PF must not be in the solution equation for the problems that are currently bedeviling the country. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for coming. We just want to send a strong message to ZANU-PF that we will not let you go for free. You will not get away with the bastardization of the constitution. The time for the people of Zimbabwe to claim their country, the time for the people of Zimbabwe to fight for what is theirs has come. And this is our Sarajevo moment. The 2030 nonsense is our Sarajevo moment. If there's anything that is going to unite the people of Zimbabwe to fight for their country, to claim back their country, is the issue of Agenda 2030. So ladies and gentlemen, we thank you so much for coming. I'm not sure if there's anyone who would want to ask questions just before we disperse. If there's anyone with a question, maybe we can take 2 or 3 questions and then we will take it up from there. Yes.
Okay, I would love to ask for it. Okay, as a whole, like as opposition parties, what's your solution that you're coming up with? Since our honorable Ngulube, they are here, they can't go back home. Besides these press conferences, what's your strategy of destroying the other party so that you can rise and defend our country?
Okay, Elon wants to take that, but I want to say that there's about 14 million Zimbabweans that are in the country at the moment, and we are starting a process of mobilizing them for protests. That is what we are saying to the government. We are mobilizing the people of Zimbabwe to protest. The government of Zimbabwe is not afraid of press conferences. The government of Zimbabwe is not afraid of petitions and letters that we write to them. The only thing that they will understand is the same thing that Robert Mugabe understood in 2017 when he saw the people of Zimbabwe on the streets peacefully saying they want him out. It is exactly what we are doing. We are mobilizing Zimbabweans to go to the streets to say they are against the issue of 2030. The second thing that we are doing, we are mobilizing people at constituency level so that they can hold the MPs accountable and tell them that they must not vote for 2030, because the strategy of ZANU-PF now is to take the issue of 2030 to Parliament and amend the constitution using parliamentarians. We are going to be holding parliamentarians accountable. And we are also going to be protesting in the houses of members of Parliament. We are going to be mobilizing small protests that are going to be targeting members of Parliament, because the time has come for everyone in Zimbabwe to be held individually accountable for the decisions, the wrong decisions that they are making. We are going to be holding Parliament collectively accountable and parliamentarians individually accountable. I think the time for us to claim our country has come, and it is now. Thank you. Anyone else who has a question?
Maybe just a quick one. I just want to respond to my sister. A lot of things are happening as far as the people's agenda.
Sister, perhaps you will accept the podium.
Okay, thank you. I just want to respond to my sister. A lot of things are happening as far as the people's agenda is concerned. Since we've agreed that is a revolution, we involved everyone. When I say everyone, I mean everyone. Last 2 weeks, I was in Zimbabwe. There was an organized protest announced by Commander Geza. I understand what is on the ground. And after doing the post-mortem, we managed to engage with a lot of comrades on the ground, be it from political parties, civil societies, churches, and so forth. We created a system because these guys are making sure that the communication system is cut. The mobilizers mobilization systems are cut, so people can no longer freely mobilize. So we agreed on a system. So it's not those who are outside the country only. Whenever those who are outside the country speaks, even those who are inside the country, they know how to act. We now have a language, because this is an enemy. We have derived a language like what happens in church. When you are speaking with the devil, sometimes you speak in tongues so that the devil won't understand. So I can guarantee you that on the ground, the people are very active. And we managed to speak to everyone. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, colleagues. I think we have come to the end of our press. Thank you, members of the media. I thank everyone. There's a refreshment, a coffee and tea outside on your way out. Good afternoon.